Hey guys, welcome back to another Master Runeterra Deck Tech. This time featuring Zoe Lee, a personal favorite of both of ours, I believe.
Oh yes, love it.
Yeah,
Love to
this
see
this
it.
is a yeah this is probably the deck I'm most known for. I feel like.
I'd say
Um,
so.
yeah, I put up results with Zoe Lee. It's the deck I won seasons with. Deck I first hit rank one with. When I kind of hit the scene, this is pretty much always playing, and it's something I go back to time and time again. Like if Zoe Lee is something I can run in a tournament, I will run Zoe Lee.
Yeah, 50-50 into the field. Oh, that's way good enough.
Those are the best odds I've had in years. Yeah, so Zoe Lee, and we think right now Zoe Lee's actually quite a good spot.
It's got some particularly good matchups against some of the top decks in the format right now. A lot of the things that were kind of holding it down have sort of been pushed out by some of these faster burn decks.
Or aggressive burn oriented decks. Yeah, and I don't know if you know this. What's really good against burn?
I don't know. Tell me.
6 copies of Eye of the Dragon.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, so let's discuss the deck really quick for people who maybe don't know it or don't know as well. Basically, the game plan is to Lee Sin combo kick people, right? You play Lee Sin, you give him Overwhelm with Zenith Blade, and then you toss a Twin Disciplines on top of that, and all of a sudden you're kicking 18 damage. Not 18, 16 damage. That's how math works. Yeah, so 16 damage, you chip in at any point during the game, and the game ends right there. But you have to get there. You got to get there first. And this deck's very good at getting there because you have 3 copies of Eye of the Dragon, which make Dragonling very often. And then this deck is basically all spells. It's like Zoe, Lee, Eye of the Dragons, and spells, or things that make you spells. Um, and so, yeah, we have the 3 copies of Eye of the Dragon. But if I don't draw Eye of the Dragon and I still want Eye of the Dragon, I can cast Gifts from Beyond, grab Crescendum, cast it, and the only 2-drop in the deck is Eye of the Dragon. So not
And
only does it. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, and it's procced.
And yeah, and it's ready to go. Yeah, so not only does it actually summon Eye of the Dragon, but it's already going to get you a Dragonling. And basically, Eye of the Dragons, maybe Zoe, other stuff like your palms, your Sonic Waves and stuff, just to like get to your Lee Sin late game, and then you execute. This is not a control deck, although sometimes it plays like one. It's a combo deck. It's a pretty good combo deck, but like if you're trying to really go toe to toe and like grind out resources in a war of attrition, a lot of times you'll lose.
Yep.
Like these Driven Caitlyn decks, the Tribeam decks, and stuff like Plunder. Like a lot of times they'll just beat you on resource. You are not trying to control the game and get to like turn 15. You're trying to control the game until you win the game. That's all you need to do. So yeah, let's talk about some individual cards.
Start with the champs. First up, we
My
got Zoe.
absolute favorite champion in the game, Zoe. I have twice as much mastery as every other champion with Zoe. Like it's like Zoe at like 68,000, and then Ezreal at like 30,000.
She's so awesome.
She's great, great champion. Very flexible too. Put her in a lot of things, and she's in here because she's a game-ending threat if left untouched. Also, spoiler alert: the deck with counter spells, 3 Twin Disciplines, and Tail Cascades is pretty good at keeping things alive. So, if you want to keep Zoe alive, you often can. Don't put too much emphasis on it. Like, if you're playing against Draven Caitlyn or something, and they throw something at your Zoe, maybe just let her die. Because they're pretty good at killing stuff. They're better at killing things than you are at keeping things alive. So, yeah, she's like a lightning rod. Don't put too much importance on it. Sometimes, if a deck's like light on removal, you really go out of your way to keep her alive, and you'll almost guarantee flip. But a lot of times, you get it hidden, get your super cool star chart, make your opponent make an inefficient play to get rid of her, and then you're already ahead. Yeah, Lee Sin. Cast 8 spells, flip him, very easy in this deck. You'll barely have to worry about it. And then obviously the whole challenger barrier thing, barrier on second spell cast. That's pretty relevant. Um, Try not to like. There's gonna be some times where your opponents try to like get you by like getting you to bury or something that only deals 1 damage, and then like popping barrier with like a make it rain, and then hitting him with like a harpoon or something. Try to be smart about it. Don't just like, oh, cast 2 spells, get barrier like immediately every turn, right? Maybe you only need to cast 1 because you only need the challenger. Well, then just cast your 1 spell, go for your kick or whatever, and then hold and wait, kind of like.
Yeah, understanding how your opponent can deal with Lee, which most decks can in some fashion, even if
Yeah.
it's like only a couple cards, is very important. Knowing when you can get him down safely, when you have to protect him, when you have to wait, when you can just jam him on five. Like you were saying, when to put the barrier. You don't always want to just snap it off right away. That's like a
I've rarely cast
very
Lee on
big,
5.
very big part of the deck. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I would say the Tri-Beam matchup specifically, like Tri-Beam deck versus Lee Sin is like as old as time. um, and matchup specifically is like literally you knowing exactly how your opponent can deal with Lee Sin at any given point in the game. Like knowing exactly what combination of cards they need to have and exactly how you can play around it. And so we'll take a second to talk about more about the deck, I suppose, as a whole before we jump into the followers and stuff. Lee Sin's a very hard deck.
to
Um,
play. Yeah,
play. Yeah, there's a threshold you need to hit um, before you really get good at the deck. Sometimes you're just going to put Overwhelm on Lee and pub him up, and your opponent has no response, and you win the game. But a lot of times it's like a fight, and you really have to be smart about how you use your resource and how you use Lee Sin. And yeah, so expect the first few games to feel awkward and to feel maybe a little underpowered, and then after that, it'll start coming together more and more. And I think the deck really pays off the people who put the time into it.
yeah. I'll say I find this version a little bit easier to play than the past
I do.
versions that had more units. Just because a lot of times you had to decide if you were gonna play a unit on your turn and like not have any mana, or kind of go shields down or not. Whereas this version, it's like you go Zoe, you always get an eye, and then you just have a bunch of spells, and then you get Lee down and you kind of
It's
kill
way
them.
more reactive.
It's definitely it's still like the ceiling is still there, and it's still difficult to play it correctly. But I find that the play patterns end up being very similar, and you're able to just kind of pass and keep up your mana a lot more. It's definitely, I feel like, I don't know, like the learning curve is maybe flattened out a little bit
I
compared to
no, I
the
totally agree.
older
I think the
versions.
old version with like goats, mentors, and sparkflies was like a lot more difficult to correctly pilot. Um, but yeah, this version is way easier. All right, moving on to the followers. Eye of the Dragon, we already talked about a lot. The attune is super relevant. Try not to block with Eye unless you have a plan, because like people are going to try to kill your Eye of the Dragon. You will block with them pretty often. Something you'll see me do and a lot of other League players do is get Eye of the Dragon out on 2 or 3, and then follow up with a Daybreak Zenith Blade onto the Eye of the Dragon, just to make a 2/5, get the first spell, draw the other Zenith Blade, get it out of the deck, right? You will see that play.
Yep, Eye is just fantastic. Like if I ever gets nerfed, like this deck might just like keel over
That
right
goes away.
there. Yeah,
It has to completely change. I have one Solari Priestess in here. That's a flex slot right now.
I like it.
Um, yeah, it went in for the second copy of Deny, which I am not a fan of right now. We will get into that a little bit more. Yeah, one Solari Priestess, just a flexible card, and I like that. Could be
Yeah,
a third Scattered Pod, could be the second Deny, could be something else, whatever you
G-
want.
I like it that it gives you outs to just about anything, like landmarks
I can
or
find a comet to blow up tree.
yeah.
If I haven't drawn a Lee, I can grab Written, grab Traveler to find the Scourge for like a Gray Neon or something, right?
Very
It's just a
versatile.
nice card. I like having one.
Pod, a new
Scattered
addition to the
Pod.
deck.
I love Scattered. One of my favorite cards. 6 mana 5/6 is a big boy, especially when it comes with a tune, and then it does draw you a spell. Play a slow, fast, or burst spell. You get to choose. If you have 10 mana, enlightened, you get elusive. Um, Someone's going to ask this, so I'm just going to say it. If Zoe is flipped and you play a scatter pod when you already are enlightened, the rest of your stuff does get elusive. You play it on 9, and then it turns to turn 10 and it gets elusive. Your team does not get elusive. Something
Correct.
it is also a Louvre Traveler insurance, so it hits your pod instead of Lee Sin. Uh, that's less important than people think.
But it's
Honestly, it's there
nice.
because it's yeah, it's nice.
It's a little
It's just
bonus.
honestly, it's another win condition. Just another way to win the game, which this deck often needs,
Yes.
or at least a way to like pressure life. And it's just a good card. You can often like you choose burst if you like have really no preference of what you want. Slow if you really need Zenith. I don't really ever take slow. And fast if you need some way to interact. Counterspell, will, palm, stuff like that. Really like this card.
Yeah, sometimes the big problem with the deck is your Lees can be on the bottom of your deck, and it's just very hard to kill them. As you can see, you got Zoes, you got Eyes, and a Priestess. Like it's hard to kill
That's
your
it.
opponent
Yeah,
with those, right?
that's it.
So Scatterpod gives you another option. Well, like we're saying, 5/6 is very big. You can get through. Once it has elusive, it starts hitting them, and then you're able to like pump them up with like twin disciplines or pale, and like you're able to finish them off. Things you can grab with gifts. So yeah, like you were saying, having that alternate win condition and not being just all in on Lee is really nice. Just a fantastic all around card.
Yeah. Okay, so Gifts from Beyond is our crescendum go getter, which is an I go getter. But I take a lot of stuff. I usually don't take Severum, but every now and then I'll throw it on a Lee Sin, right, just to like get some life. But usually I take crescendum almost all the time. Then I'll take like Calibrum, Gravitum, and Infernum almost in equal amount to each other. It's just a flexible card. Nice. A removal spell when you need it. It stuns something when you need it. It gives you overwhelm when you need it. Don't be afraid to slap this on like a Zoe to run over your opponent's Zoe. Just put like an Infernum on there just to get that hit in. Very good card. One
Yeah,
mana to trigger Lee. A lot of times I'll like cast something like um, maybe I guiding touch something that took some damage, and then I'll cast just gifts to trigger my Eyes of the Dragon for the next turn, and then I'll cast Crescendum plus one other spell, right, to trigger them again for the following turn.
yeah, fantastic card in this deck. The versatility is just exactly what you want. How often do you just like get your opponent? Or you just like go get something else, and they're like, oh right, you can give Lee
That's
overwhelm, or
not Crescendo. Yeah,
oh he could
I
stun
imagine that
something, and
happens
then it's
pretty
stunned on
often.
my
Yeah.
turn, and yeah, all the
Uh,
time. So
okay.
good.
My taking of Gravitum has gone up now that Pop.
I get grabbed him a lot.
All right, let's do Guiding Touch and Pale Cascade at the same time. These are your cyclers. They're 2 mana spells that draw a card and do a thing. That's it.
Yep.
They're good. And you need the cycling because you have to find Lee Sin, and you need to keep drawing spells to keep triggering your Eye of the Dragons and stuff. And also, they're just pretty good. Healing 2 is really nice, and giving +1/+1 keeps your Zoe alive or something.
Did Pale Cascade really used to give +2/+1?
Yeah.
How did we
I
let
used
that
to
happen?
splash Targon solely to play 3 copies of Pale Cascade.
Yeah, I remember someone brought that up, and I was like, "Oh yeah, they did
What?
nerf it. Like we still play
That's
it.
insane. Yeah.
It's so good."
Okay, Nova 5. We're running 2. This used to be 1. My counterspell, we'll do both the counterspells right now. I used to do 1 Notify, 2 Deny. But right now, Deny's stock is pretty far down. Not a lot of cards I want to deny in the format, but all of the stuff I want to deny gets notified. The only thing Deny's honestly in there for is the 4 mana rally. Luminous
Vegas.
Barrier and rallies. Aegis, Gold Aegis. Notify hits everything else. It hits Harpoon after Plunder is done. It hits basically all the spells in Dreaming Caitlyn and Scion. Um, it hits Fervor. Like, hits all the important stuff. One denies there to keep your opponent honest, though.
Yeah, I like what deny.
Can't cut that. All right, Sonic Wave, one of my favorite additions to the Zoe Lee deck. I've been running this for a long time. It's just so insane with Eye of the Dragon because you make a Dragonling, and then you give your Dragonling Challenger, and you give it +2/+0. You go kill whatever you want, and that's 2 spells for your Eye of the Dragon. You're getting a Dragonling next turn, and you killed something, and you gained 4 life
For one card.
for 3 mana. Really good. Yeah, really good. Twin Disciplines is the actual pump spell in the deck. Don't let Pale Cascade play otherwise. This is here to keep your stuff alive and deal damage, and it's very good at that.
Yeah, that's another nice. Pale Cascade might have got nerfed, but Twin Disciplines got buffed, and it's a nice addition to the deck.
Yes, it is. Hush, we run 2. Good times. Sometimes it's bad.
Hey Scion, how you
It's
doing?
good against Scion. Very good against Scion. You can hit Twin Blade Revenant. You can hit, obviously, Scion. You can hit Raven. It is better than you think. There's a lot of applications. Like sometimes you just open Hush your opponent's elusive unit to get in with Zoe again, or to go lethal with your pods. Sometimes you can Hush their
Dejwani.
picks. Yeah, Sejuani. Yeah, that comes up. There's just a lot of uses for Hush. It's very flexible. Zenith Blade is your overwhelm giver for our boy Lee Sin. Less important now since we have gifts into Infernum, which is why you only see 2. You can run 3. I just don't like to. Drawing 2 Zenith Blade feels horrible. I don't ever want to do it.
Drawing 3 feels worse. I've had that happen.
Yeah. Oh God, that is so bad. We mulligan into all three, and you're like,
Ugh. I guess we're done here.
three palm. Palm's very
So
good.
good.
It's been very good for a very long time. Even better now, I think. Like every season, I feel like Palm just gets better.
Yeah.
It's just a really good card. Yeah, so we run three. Oftentimes, I will pre-combat Palm so
Yeah.
that I stun something and get the blocker. It's
Just shuts
Okay.
down an attack.
Yeah. Talked about deny. Will of Ionia, there to keep the opponent honest. It's Palm number 4. Uh, Atrocity used to be more played before this season, and so I was playing 2 Wills. I'm only playing 1. There's not a lot of things I want to bounce, but there's a lot of things I want to stun.
Yep.
I like having the 1 in there, especially for like the plunder matchup, because you see like your whole deck every game, right? So I just
Yeah.
want 1. That way I can do like the Sejuani thing. You just like bounce it, you know. Pretty good. Deep med draws cards, specifically spells. Very often turned on. Just be conscious about like I have deep med. I'd like to cast deep med next turn. I have to cast 2 spells this turn, right? You just want to make sure you know that. Really good card. Keeps the value flowing, and well, yeah, we have a lot of spells there. It's
Yeah.
helpful.
Another like one very important part of the deck is like when to play Lee Sin and how to keep him alive. Another very important part is setting up deep med and like when you kind of like invest that time and mana into casting it. That's like another just important thing to be very conscious of and paying attention to when you're learning the deck. Because that's like knowing when to cast that and set that up is very, very relevant.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk a little bit about matchups.
Okay, first up, Draven Scion. This must be a terrible
yes.
matchup, right?
Oh,
it must be
so If you pick 4 different cards that you want to have against the Scion deck, we're playing like all 4 of them.
Yep.
The only one we're not playing is Minimorph. Like we have Hush, we have Eye of the Dragon, we have Concussive Palms, we have Will of Ionians, and we have a win condition they can't interact with. Like that deck can't kill Lee Sin. So very, very good matchup.
Yeah, it almost feels unfair. Like
Cheating.
the first 2 times I played it, I was just like, it felt like it didn't matter what cards I had in my hand. I was just like, oh, this blows you out, and this blows you out, and this, yeah. Matchups very, very good.
Eye alive, save at least 1 answer to buy you a full turn against Scion, and you're good to go.
Yeah, it's kind of it's the main reason that Zoe Lee Sin is kind of coming back. Is that Draven Scion's doing so damn good, and the matchup is very, very favorable.
Also, Equinox is a very good pick off Zoe because of Twin.
Yep, that feels good. Next up, Ziggs Poppy.
Another matchup I'm very happy to see. Turns out burn decks are not very good against Eye of the Dragon.
Who would have thought?
Yep, so if you can keep from getting absolutely ran over on board, just make Dragonlings every turn. Watch out for like a big Noxian for a return where they just like completely invalidate your life gain. You're usually be good.
Yeah, if you had to put a number on it, how much of a favorite do you think Zoe Lee Sin is?
Probably like 60-40.
Yeah, which is pretty good. Next up, we got Ping City.
This is like it's basically the Poppy burn deck, but like without actual burn, and their only way to kill you is Gangplank. So you just like palm Gangplank, and then you just kick them with Lisa. It's a really good matchup. Just keep your eyes alive. Same thing as before. Equinox is still good because they hit Selection. Strikes your other good one. Not the stun one. No, that's the Demacia one. I always get them mixed up.
It's Lecturing Yordle.
No. The stun too. What's that called? Zoe.
Oh,
Inserted Strike's the Demacia one.
Yeah. No, it's oh. How are we
I can't
blanking?
ever remember.
How are we blanking?
Oh
my god.
I get those 2 mixed up all the time. But that one, also very good because it stuns game. Just be smart about it. The only way they can actually interact with you is sometimes some copies play Harpoon. So just be aware of that. And then Twist of Fate Gold card. So like often against that deck, I'll just let their Twist of Fate live.
Yeah.
Until, obviously once he gets up to like 5, kill him. But yeah, if they play like Twist of Fate red card, you're just like, okay, Lee. Now you can't gold card, it gets to just like cast Zenith Blade and kill you. Yeah, that matchup feels very good.
And lastly, Zoe Nami.
Zoe Nami's not favored, but it's not bad. You have hushes, you have palms, you have elusive blockers, um, and if you hit with Zoe, you can find Equinox. It's not bad. It's I would say like 45-55.
Yeah, fair. Okay, any closing thoughts on the deck? Any little tips before we go to the mulligans?
If you're wanting to like learn more about the deck, I have like 4 different Zoe Leave channel. Just watch those. I try to go pretty in depth when I'm actually playing through to talk through my thoughts a lot.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay, we'll go on to some mulligans now. Okay, so now we're gonna do some mulligans. We're gonna pretend like we're playing against Draven Scion first. So here's our hand: Gifts from Beyond, Zoe, Guiding Touch, Lee Sin.
Sounds pretty good. I think since we have gifts and Zoe, I think we're okay to keep Lisa. Because sometimes if you don't have like, let's say we didn't have a way to get Eye of the Dragon, I would actually mulligan Lisa because I think it's
Right.
so important to have an eye going. And then we mulligan Guiding Touch. You literally never keep Guiding Touch. You mulligan pretty much every single pump spell unless you have, or like, yeah, and pretty much every single spell unless you have a reason to keep it, except Gifts from Beyond.
Right.
There's only a few cards I actually keep.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is like literally the best possible opener.
A lot of
Something
it's a lot of it's filler.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got Gifts from Beyond, Zoe, Deep Meditation, Lee Sin. Basically the nuts.
Awesome. Great.
Okay, hand number 2. We've got Lee Sin, Zenith Blade, Guiding Touch, Twin Disciplines.
So for example, I would mulligan this one. This matchup's also so good for us that I just want to not die. Right? I don't need Lee. I'll survive till like turn 15.
Yeah,
I just want to find Eye.
we really need Eye. So we end up with Sonic Wave, 2 Deep Meds, and a Pale Cascade. This is a bit of a
Unfortunate.
yeah. This is a rough one.
We get like 3 turns to find one though, and there's like 6 copies. So.
Yeah. This will be a challenge though. Even if you find Eye, you're still gonna maybe struggle a little bit, but you could still definitely win with this hand. Okay, and hand number 3, we got 2 Zoes, Eye of the Dragon, Deep Meditation.
I'm probably mulligan Zoe number 2 and Deep Mid. Sometimes, like a lot of times, I'll keep 2 Zoes, but Zoe's not very good against Draven Scion because they have Portal Cannon and efficient removal to deal with her. So
Right.
just one's totally fine. I want to play her, and I would really like to get that one super cool star chart, and then I want to get on my Eye of the Dragon. I would probably not even put resources into saving Zoe unless it was like a Pale Cascade, because it's so much more important that Eye of the Dragon stays alive.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Zoe's not really going to win the game for me.
Okay, we end up with double Pale Cascade, Eye of the Dragon, Zoe. Don't hate it. Yeah. Take it. Okay, so next up we have a Ziggs Poppy. We're playing against Ziggs Poppy, and our hand is 2 Guiding Touch, Zoe, Zenith Blade.
We're doing really good at drawing Zoe. Yeah, we just want to keep Zoe.
Yeah,
We're
so
just looking for Eye.
a lot of people make the mistake of keeping Guiding Touch against aggressive decks or decks with burn, thinking that like, oh, it's good because they're trying to burn me, but really Guiding Touch is just filler. It's there to cycle through your deck. Sometimes it does cool things by healing things. That's awesome.
Like later,
yeah.
But we need to control the board first, and Eye of the Dragon is the only card of ours.
So we keep Zoe. We end up with Lee Sin, Zoe, Nopify, Sonic Wave.
Workable. Nopify is a very strong card. If we had like a gifts or something, like if our hand was like Zoe, gifts, Nopify, something, I would probably have kept Nopify.
Yeah.
Quite good.
Fair enough.
Especially against Pink City. I know this is Ziggs Poppy, but like especially against Pink City.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. They have a lot more targets. Okay, hand number 2. We got Pale Cascade, Gifts from Beyond, Hush, Zenith Blade.
I just want to keep gifts. You could try to talk me into Zenith Blade here. We have gifts, and we'd likely cast it on Eye of the Dragon on turn 4. I don't really want to do that. I would like find another Eye of the Dragon.
Makes sense. And we end up with Gifts, Guiding Touch, Zenith Blade, Scattered Pod. It's a hand.
You'll notice the same theme, which is basically like this card, Eye of the Dragon or Zoe. No, then I'm mulligan it. Like that's pretty much how it works every single time.
Yeah.
You better have a really good reason for keeping anything. Lee Sin, yes, you can keep, but I I only keep Lee Sin if I can. Like against really aggressive decks like Zig Poppy, you need to like uh it's just keeping Lee's a luxury.
Yep. Okay, hand number 3, we have Gifts from Beyond, Eye of the Dragon, Pale Cascade, Scatterpod.
I don't want Pale Cascade and I don't want Scatterpod. But I really want these two Eye of the Dragon.
Got double eye against a burn deck, though. Let's go. We end up with Concussive Palm, Lee Sin, Eye of the Dragon, Gifts from Beyond. Like,
And fantastic.
this hand is
Play Eye on 2,
fantastic.
like Gifts Crescendo on 3, and you're off the races.
Yeah, it would be really hard for you to lose with this opener in that matchup, I think. Okay, deck number 3, we got Zoe Nami. So a little bit different now. We went against 2 more aggressive decks.
Yeah, we put a little bit less emphasis on Eye of the Dragon because it doesn't really. But not opposed to keeping the first one. I probably still would no matter what. Let's see what we get.
We end up with Sonic Wave, Deep Meditation, Pale Cascade, Nopify.
This is a full mulligan. This hand does not do anything. I will mulligan, like I said, I will mulligan just about every single spell that isn't Gifts from me, almost all the time. I have a really good reason to keep it.
Yeah, so we full mull. We end up with Twin Disciplines, Gifts from Beyond, Solari Priestess, Concussive Palm.
That's pretty good. Solid.
Not the
You
worst.
can get an Eye, Calibrum, Solari Priestess can find as like Comet or even Meteor Shower. Might be good. Yeah, fine.
Okay, hand number 2, we have Lee Sin, Nopify, Zenith Blade, Pale Cascade.
I think it's okay to keep Lee here, but I want to mulligan the rest. I know some people are immediately going to look at Lee and Zenith Blade together and go, "Oh, well, you gotta keep both, right? It's the combo." But like, I don't one-shot my opponents very often. I don't care. Like the first kick is usually just there to deal some damage and kill something. Second kick kills them.
Yeah.
So I don't want to keep Zenith. Also, like, I can't afford to just do nothing until turn 6. I'm gonna die. I really want to find like a Zoe. I'd take an Eye of the Dragon, a Sonic Wave or something would be nice.
Okay, so we keep Lee. We end up with Zoe, Eye, Pale Cascade, Lee.
Wonderful. You'll love
Beauty.
to see it. Very good hand.
Okay, hand number 3. We've got 2 Sonic Waves, Gifts from Beyond, Pale Cascade.
So we're keeping gifts. The question is, do we keep a Sonic Wave? What would you do?
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't think about Sonic Wave being pretty decent against like a lot of the units that matter, like Nami, for instance. Yeah, I can see keeping a Sonic Wave. Mull these 2, keep a Sonic Wave. There's not that much. Like, what else do you really want? Like, we've got our Eye, we can proc it, and then like there's not that many cards in our deck that are particularly relevant early in the game or actually interact with them in a meaningful way. So yeah, I would totally keep a Sonic Wave. What about you?
Yeah, I think that's totally fine. It's also like still good as the game progresses too. A lot of times you can go Hush into Sonic Wave. You can Sonic Wave something that doesn't get pumped as often, like Shelly. You can go after a freshly played Sparklefly, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I like it here.
Okay, and we end up with a Deep Meditation, Hush to go with our Gifts from Beyond, Sonic Wave.
Not bad. This Deep Med
Not
can be
bad.
turned on forever, like from turn 3 on. Be like on for a while, which is kind of nice. Hush is, eventually you're gonna want one. You're probably gonna want 2 by the end of the game. This hand is not bad. You're gonna see a lot of hands like this, where you have like an Eye and then like some spells, and that's why I tend to not keep spells unless I have a good reason, like the Sonic Wave, because we have so many, and so many of them just replace themselves. I'm gonna draw into them anyway. I really want to focus on the things that matter, like Zoe, Lee, and Eye of the Dragon.
Yeah, totally agree. Okay, so that's it for our mulligans. I hope you guys enjoyed this deck guide. Make sure you check us out at matchingruneterra.com, our new strategy website. It's fantastic. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Peace.